Comments to El Archeofuturisme. Archeofuturism is a very useful starting point for anyone who wants to be a part of thinking about the radical ideas that will come to shape the 21st century. And I therefore recommend each and every one to familiarize themselves with Willem Fay's writing, even though the translation leaves much to be desired. If I could choose one scripture to be translated into English in 2011, then El Archeofuturism might just be that particular scripture. And I just so happened to have the great fortune to have discovered it, translated and ready to be read in a longer version in English in this very book. My comments on 4 of the 5 parts. 1. Fay ought to be of potential interests for parts of the value nihilistic environment that has not completely swallowed and embraced politically correct cliches, and points to a Nietzschean political project that is more fulfilling than sitting at home and drooling over Parisian car pyromaniacs and the stone throwers of Rosengård. The 30s radical right movements were often rooted in its time's most sophisticated left, syndicalism, and the question is whether or not the same thing will happen in our time with postmodern autonomism, in the form of a fruitful synthesis with spirituality, numen puissance, identity, difference, and tradition. The one who still lives will live to tell the tale. 2. Here Fay describes how he has looked for a name for his position, and how he rejected both anti-egalitarianism and postmodernism. Since one ought to base one's identity on what you're for, not what you're against. Since one ought to be for something, not anti or post. Vitalistic constructivism is the philosophical foundation, while the archeofuturism seems to be its application to the social and political reality. 3. Here Fay describes more in depth his thesis on, quote, the disaster's convergence, close quote, that modernity has at least 7 contradictions which it has built into itself, and which will shortly culminate in open crisis. And a crisis a system can cope, possibly 2, but not 7 at the same time. How can, for an example, our, quote, leaders, close quote, deal with multicultural society's built-in conflicts when the world economy crashes and they can no longer bribe various groups to calm down with our tax money? And recurring crashes, Kondratiev cycles, and all sorts of things are built into capitalism. Modernity's days are numbered. Enter archeofuturism. Particularly rewarding is the paragraph on the North-South conflict and what feeling really lies behind this. 5. One may have some objections to Fay's thesis, particularly in regards to biotechnology, where one senses a hubris, and the fact that it is more about futurism and postmodernism than archaism. This becomes particularly clear by the fact that the section on religion feels somewhat forced and not genuine. But as a starting point for a further discussion on the future of Europa, I must say they are excellent. I recommend you to purchase the book, and if you're familiar with the Italian language, I at least recommend you to read the article in the link below. Happy reading, friends and subscribers.